So that's what we're working on, an old Argosy. And the customer says that they've got some new light fixtures that they put in, and I guess they were working, but now they're not. So anyway, sounds like this is going to be an interesting one. I'm going to try and stay dry. Anyhow, let me show you what the situation is. So these are the new light fixtures that the customer installed. Now, living room, kitchen are working, but I was here the other day to check the situation out. That kitchen one's not working, and bedroom is not working, and bathroom is not working. So I figured this would be a good one to bring you guys along, and let's see what we can figure out. I don't know. When I was here the other day and I took the fixtures down, I got the multimeter out, was checking at the connections, and we've got no volts, 0 volts. So we need to figure out what's going on. And this is a old camper with a lot of modifications to it, because this thing has just sat here. This campground that we're in is the kind that, I guess back in the day, you'd bring your camper in here and set it up, and people just ended up building shelters around them, and now the campers don't leave. They get bought and sold here as they sit. So anyhow, this camper has just been sold, and the owner wants me to get the light situation figured out. So let's get busy. So here's our setup here. This is their water heater, so they don't have an RV water heater anymore. And this big metal box right here, I've got a feeling that that is a power converter, judging by the wiring on the side over here. That is, if that is a power converter, that is the oldest power converter I think I've ever seen. And I've got a feeling that there isn't a fuse panel. I've got a feeling that each DC circuit in this camper runs just straight off that converter, but I'm not 100% sure about that yet. So I'm going to dig into this a little bit and find out. Reason why I did see this before when I was here before, looking for a fuse panel. But here, we've got this purple and white wire coming out of the ceiling, and I did notice down here that there's a purple wire. So I kind of want to follow these wires and see if they go somewhere, but again, I think we're probably just finding power right off the converter. And if that's the case, then why maybe a circuit, I don't know, on the converter that provides the DC for that purple wire has burned up or something. I don't know. Well, anyway, unfortunately, it's tight quarters, and I can't think of any place to put you guys so that you can sit here and watch me do what I do. So what I'm going to do is do what I do, and when I discover things along the way, I'll bring you back in on it. So stand by. Roger that. All right. So I killed that breaker right there. It says plugs, and it turned off the converter. And when I turned off the converter, all my lights went out. So I would say this is definitely what's providing the DC volts to the camper. But man alive, I have never seen a contraption like this before. This thing's warm, really warm. So anyhow, Boy, you gotta check this out. This thing is an antique. Had to get this thing spun around. Yeah, very hot back here. But man, this thing is old as the hills. Look at these glass fuses in here for each of the circuits. Wow. And here it tells you, I guess, what each one runs. Somebody's updated something with a piece of tape here. Wow. Yeah, this is this is crazy. So purple wire is this very end fuse here where my finger is. Let's see what we've got going on there. We just may have a blown fuse. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about this. Well, if purple wire up there is the same purple wire that's down here, I'd say let's have a look at purple wire. Holy cow, that guy's been hot. And I wouldn't be surprised if that's not why that ain't working. Oh my goodness. Well, I was looking down the legend here on the door, and this big red wire here is battery to camper, which there's clearly no voltage on it, so I'm sure there's no battery. And this blue wire here is for tow vehicle. Found that very interesting. So as burned up as this terminal may be over here, I'm thinking I might just rob this tow vehicle fuse here, move the wire, see if I can get back to good copper on this wire and put it over here in this terminal block with the appropriate fuse. I mean, down here it's talking about 20 amps on these two branches, and then 30 on these two branches, and this one right here is tow vehicle, 30 amp, and then 50 amp for trailer battery. But if we move that 20 amp fuse down here to the where trailer tow vehicle fuse is, we may be able to get something with that. But this yellow wire is looking pretty cooked too, and we just need to verify that we got the right size fuses in here, because this may be cooked and overheated because that's too big of a fuse. I don't know. Well, we'll have to do some more investigating here. Okay, so I got the wires out of our box here. Pulled all the wires out, all the DC wires, because they were really acting stressed coming in from right underneath the breaker box there, around that board back there. So I was like, well, why don't we just de-stress that? This converter needs to be sitting sideways anyway, in case you ever have to replace a fuse. So I pulled all the wiring out down here, and I was able to make some sense of this. So our red black that we found in our breaker panel, or fuse panel, there's a battery box right there. And that's what, these are the cables that would be used to charge the battery from the converter. Or if you were ever boondocking, your DC voltage would come from your battery in here through these wires to your your fuse block in the converter. But this camper's been sitting here for decades. And I checked for voltage on those wires. There's no voltage in those wires. I would be stunned if there's a battery in that box even. But what we're going to do is we're going to take our wires here, which is our big white one here is our chassis ground. And then these are our circuits. Now we know the big blue, unless somebody's changed it in the past, is a tow vehicle. And don't think we're going to be needing that. So what we're going to do is take the other three that we know do run circuits, and we're going to wire those in. And put our chassis ground back on, and then we're going to check and see what we've got going. And I've got a feeling after we cut back on these wires here, get back down to some good some good copper, that we'll probably have our light problem solved. So let me get busy on that. Alright, let me give you an update. Look what we got here. Working lights. So what I did is, you saw me pull all those wires out. And I took all those wires and I cut back all of the burnt stuff, the corroded stuff, and I didn't have to cut very far, just a few inches back, and I found great copper wire. So I stripped the wires back to good copper. I re-ran them between the boards here instead of back there. It was just really a lot of tension on the wires, so I ran them between the boards here. Fed them through that rubber grommet that wasn't in place when I started this. Yeah, big fuse here. That's to charge the battery that doesn't exist. Of course, the blue is trailer, or it says tow vehicle. I just left the fuse out of it because it's not doing anything. And then yellow, pink, purple are our circuits. All of them have 20 amp fuses in it, just like the legend says to use. And now we've got lights. Now, this light here is not on because our ground negative is not on the screw up here. These Argosys and Airstreams, you know, they have metal roofs and walls and all that, so they just screw a screw into the ceiling for the negative ground for this light. I've already verified it. Let's see if I can get it to flash at you. Yeah, there you go. So we've got voltage here now. And the other light that was in question was the kitchen light, and it's not working. So I opened up the cupboard here and found that they got it wired into this black, to which I'm not sure about. One runs in here, which is the stove hood. Now I bet you there's a fuse right there behind that knob, unless that's the on-off knob. Yeah, that's clicky like a switch. Okay. But this black wire here, I don't know. It's very stiff. But I've got a feeling those yellow wires right there are what we're looking for to run this light over here. So I'm getting ready to get the voltmeter out, come over here and see if we've got voltage on those wires, and if we do, we'll wire the fixture into that. Because if I'm not mistaken, if I remember my colors, in our fuse block down here, we have got a yellow, pink and purple, and yellow is up there at the kitchen. So let me take care of all that, get the voltmeter out and go check for voltage on those yellows, to which I'm surmising that we'll have voltage. On this guy here that goes on the screw in the ceiling, I'm gonna put a little ring terminal connector on him so that we can put that on the screw and have a secure, good negative there. And I think we'll put everything back together, and we'll have a conversation with the customer about that converter back there. I mean, I know I just did a little bit of work on that to get some things going. I'm not quite sure how you replace that. I mean, you would have to put a fuse panel in, you know, the modern fuse block, you know, with the blade fuses and all that, and then have like a deck mount converter. But good gosh, man, that thing looks like it's the original converter. It's still chugging away, putting out solid 12 volts. So I don't know, we may just run with it. I think if this was my camper, I might put a you know, like a 12 volt, you know, fan on top of it to help it get the heat out of there, because that metal box gets pretty warm, like the high side of warm. So anyway, I'm gonna have a conversation with them about that. And anyhow, I might just leave you guys hanging for one more segment. All right, I got my meter set up. let's see if I can do. This is why I want a cameraman. I want a full-time cameraman. Anybody out there want to be my full-time cameraman? All right. I'm trying to touch. Looky there. And it's jumping around a little bit because I'm not getting a good touch on it. But there's your 12 volts on those yellow wires. All right. So we know what we need to do. We need to wire that light fixture right here into those yellow wires there, and then that problem will be resolved. All right, got the kitchen lights going. Definitely was the yellow wires. And what I did up here is I used a 5-port Wago or a Wago, so that, you know, for the 2 yellow wires coming out of the wall, the 1 wire that feeds the light fixture, and then this black wire here runs our hood fan over here. All right. But I've got 1 piece of Romex wire here, solid core copper. It's I don't know, I checked it for voltage, there ain't nothing on it, but it runs across the divider here and runs up through a hole in the ceiling there. So I'm not sure what that's all about. I don't know. So because I don't know, I'm going to leave things alone. But yeah, I got a little 2-port Wago there for the negative ground wire and the 5-port, and then over here I put a ring connector on our negative ground wire here and screwed it back to the ceiling, so now it's got a nice, much better connection than what it had before. So we'll just shove this wire in the ceiling and put the light fixtures back up, and I think we'll call this a successful repair. I just don't know what to think about that old converter though. But anyway, customer's selling the camper, so they wanted to have everything up and going. So I am going to run around and check. There's not a lot of things left DC in here. Pretty much the lights. Our fridge has been replaced. Got a residential fridge. I don't even know about the furnace, honestly. The water heater we know has been changed. That was back there by the breaker panel. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe she ain't got heat. I don't know. Cute little camper, though. Cute little camper. Still has the camper toilet in it. Kind of surprising there, but there we go. That's what we did today. So, guys, don't forget to give us a like, a subscribe, leave us a comment. You know, we appreciate the interaction. It's we're honored that you would watch, even more honored that you would interact, and even more honored if you would share our videos. So we're just making these videos so that we can help people that were once like me. And I watch videos all the time, but you know, there was a time where I didn't know much and wanted to know more, and it was videos like these that I you know, I learned a lot from. So anyhow, enough chit chat. Go leave a comment. As Hillbilly says, comment or concern. Anyway, check out Hillbilly RV if you don't know who I'm talking about. Great guy, Kenny the Hillbilly, and our other friend out in beautiful Cleveland, Tennessee, Steve Shelburne out there, our basement air conditioner expert. Yeah, definitely check out those guys, and we'll see you on the next one. Thanks for watching.